Listen carefully, chosen one. This message has reached you at precisely the intended moment. Perhaps you're unaware, but this encounter between your soul and these words was divinely orchestrated. This is neither coincidence nor chance, but perfect timing. You've been guided here because your spirit is prepared to receive a transformative revelation about your life's spiritual journey. You have already triumphed in battles you weren't even aware of fighting. You've conquered adversaries without recognizing their opposition. Before continuing, pause and acknowledge this moment. Take a breath and understand your presence here is purposeful. The divine realm has summoned you to awaken to a higher truth. If you feel an internal stirring, if something within you is rising, consider this a sign of alignment with this message, claiming this truth as your own. The light you carry. As a chosen one, you possess a brilliance that often exceeds your own awareness. Your very existence disturbs forces of darkness. Your presence alone declares war against malevolent energies. Even unconsciously, when you've chosen kindness over bitterness, forgiveness over vengeance, or purity over corruption, you've caused opposing forces to fall and lose their influence. Spiritual awakening isn't always dramatic. Often, it manifests in quiet moments of decision, in unseen corners of your heart where the greatest conflicts are resolved, when you resist temptations others easily succumb to, when you pray despite mental heaviness, when you maintain faith despite encroaching fear. These seemingly ordinary choices represent significant victories in the spiritual realm. This explains the resistance you encounter before breakthroughs and inexplicable exhaustion. The spiritual realm responds to your light. Darkness inevitably challenges light, but light remains undefeated. Your continued existence on this path proves you've already overcome what was sent to destroy you. The unseen battles. Since birth, spiritual conflicts have surrounded you. Storms invisible to others yet deeply felt by your soul. These weren't merely emotional struggles or difficult circumstances, but spiritual contests designed to prevent your awakening to your true potential. You were designated from the beginning, bearing a divine calling that radiates in the spiritual realm. This luminosity attracts darkness not because of weakness but because of your immense power. Malevolent forces don't waste energy attacking inconsequential targets. They target what threatens their existence. You've experienced unexplainable heaviness, tension in rooms without words spoken, and causeless fear or anxiety. These were spiritual attacks meant to distract, drain, and weaken you. Yet here you stand, advancing, still divinely chosen, proof of your triumph in these invisible conflicts. Your presence changes atmospheres. When you stand firm in the light, the spiritual realm trembles. Walking in purity, integrity, and divine obedience releases waves of energy that repel forces of darkness. Though not always physically perceptible or worldly acknowledged, your presence alters the atmosphere and commands attention from both angelic hosts and opposing forces. The light within you is incomprehensible and intolerable to darkness. You bring divine presence wherever you go. Negative entities recognize this immediately, even when people around you don't. They perceive heaven's mark upon your soul and sense the authority you carry as chosen, knowing they're defeated in your presence. This explains tensions rising in certain environments without apparent reason. Your light exposes what hides in shadows. Even in silence, your light speaks. Even in stillness, your light moves. You're a living declaration of divine victory over darkness. Testimonies of silent victories. All chosen ones share testimonies of quiet triumphs. Not public accolades, but private deliverances and breakthroughs in night stillness. Moments when heaven whispered, "You have won." Perhaps you've entered places with heavy atmospheres that gradually lifted. Your presence as a chosen one pushed back unseen forces without a word. Or during sleepless nights, you felt inexplicable burdens that lifted by dawn. Spiritual warfare occurring while heaven fought for you. Reflect on relationships that suddenly ended without clear reason. Though initially confusing or painful, divine protection was removing harmful influences, clearing your path forward. Consider near misses, unexplained healings, or opportunities lost only for better doors to open. Marks of divine intervention shielding you from unseen dangers. maintaining spiritual vigilance. For chosen ones, victory isn't meant as a momentary experience but a lifestyle, continuous triumph, daily walking in divine strength. Spiritual vigilance begins with awareness, understanding you live in a world where forces of light and darkness constantly work. This awareness sharpens your senses to subtle atmospheric shifts, allowing you to respond with prayer and wisdom rather than being caught unaware. Your divine connection remains your greatest asset. Never neglect quiet prayer moments, heart meditations, or nourishing spiritual words. These aren't religious obligations but lifelines anchoring you in heaven's power flow. Daily communication with the divine keeps spiritual channels open, maintaining sensitivity to guidance and fortification against deceptive whispers. Heart purity shields you. Guard against bitterness, envy, pride, and fear, emotions creating enemy footholds. Anchored in love, forgiveness, and humility, you become impenetrable. Darkness cannot settle in light-filled hearts. Cultivate supportive spiritual atmospheres. Mind the voices influencing you, conversations engaging you, and energies surrounding you. Protect your light from diminishment through negativity or distraction. Spend time with those uplifting your spirit and create peace-filled spaces. Gratitude fortifies your heart, aligning you with heaven's frequency. Acknowledging divine goodness even in small things keeps your spirit elevated and atmosphere clear. Gratitude repels darkness by focusing on divine abundance rather than fearful scarcity. Walk boldly forward. You never walk alone. Every step is surrounded by heaven's power. Battles you thought were fought solo were never yours to bear alone. Divine presence has accompanied you from the beginning. Angels preceding you. Divine protection shielding you countless times. Walk boldly, letting fear fall away. You've already conquered darkness unseen and will continue doing so. Not through greater effort but firmer standing in your divine identity. You are a light bearer in a world of shadows, a righteousness warrior chosen for this time. Heaven rejoices over your rising, while opposing forces tremble. Though challenges persist, you remain fully protected. No weapon formed against you will succeed. No curse adheres to a divinely favored life. The mark upon you remains undeniable, your destiny unstoppable. Hold your head high. Walk as one knowing they're shielded by the Most High. Your victory is eternal, your light never extinguished. The power of divine timing. Chosen one, understand that your spiritual journey unfolds according to divine timing. What appears as delay is often divine preparation. The challenges you face today are strengthening you for the responsibilities of tomorrow. Heaven operates on a different timeline, one where each moment is perfectly orchestrated for your highest good. Many chosen ones experience seasons of waiting, of apparent silence. These are not periods of abandonment but of intensive spiritual development happening beneath the surface. Like a seed in darkness before it breaks through soil, your greatest growth often occurs in unseen places. When heaven seems silent, it is actually speaking in ways your spirit must attune to hear. This is when your spiritual senses become refined, when your discernment deepens, when your faith becomes unshakable. These periods of divine incubation are sacred. Cherish them as the prelude to your greatest breakthroughs. Your unique spiritual signature. Every chosen one carries a unique spiritual signature, a divine fingerprint unlike any other. Your specific combination of gifts, insights, and calling creates a frequency in the spiritual realm that is distinctly yours. This is why certain battles are assigned specifically to you, because your spiritual DNA contains exactly what is needed to overcome them. Some chosen ones are called to be healers, bringing restoration to broken places. Others are revelators, unveiling truth where deception has reigned. Some are intercessors, standing in the gap between heaven and earth. Others are reformers, challenging corrupt systems with divine solutions. Still others are cultivators of beauty, revealing divine splendor through creativity. Your spiritual signature determines not only your battles but also your breakthroughs. The areas where you experience the greatest resistance often indicate where your greatest contribution lies. The enemy doesn't fight what poses no threat. Your struggles point toward your significance, the community of the chosen, Though your journey sometimes feels solitary, you belong to an ancient lineage of chosen ones stretching back through time. Throughout history, heaven has always maintained representatives on earth. Individuals who carried divine light in their generation, who stood against darkness when others bowed to it. You are connected to this timeless community, to prophets and visionaries, to healers and truth-tellers, to ordinary people who lived with extraordinary spiritual awareness. Their testimonies are your inheritance. Their victories pave the way for yours. When you stand firm in your purpose, you honor not only your calling but theirs as well. Even now, there are others like you, chosen ones walking their path of awakening. Though you may not know them by name, your spirits are connected in the divine economy. Your victory strengthens theirs. Their breakthrough creates ripples that reach you. You are never truly alone on this journey, navigating spiritual attacks with authority. As your light grows brighter, spiritual opposition often intensifies. This is not cause for fear but confirmation of your impact. Recognize the common patterns of spiritual attack so you can respond with authority rather than reaction. When sudden exhaustion overtakes you without cause, when unexplainable heaviness weighs on your mind, when unusual conflict erupts in relationships, when old patterns try to reassert themselves, these are often spiritual tactics designed to derail your progress. Rather than cowering, stand taller. Rather than retreating, advance. Your authority as a chosen one means you need not beg for victory, you can declare it. Speak to situations with the confidence of one who knows their words carry divine weight. Command darkness to flee in the name of light. Your voice, aligned with divine purpose, creates ripples in the spiritual atmosphere. Remember this, you don't fight for victory, you fight from victory. The outcome was determined before the battle began. Your role is simply to align with what heaven has already declared. The stewardship of your awakening. With spiritual awakening comes spiritual responsibility. Your increased awareness is not given merely for your benefit but for the liberation of others still walking in shadows. You are entrusted with light so you can illuminate paths for those still searching. Guard against spiritual pride, the subtle belief that your awakening makes you superior to others. True spiritual maturity manifests as increased humility, deeper compassion, and greater service. The more you see in the Spirit, the more responsible you become for representing divine love accurately. Share your insights with wisdom and discernment. Not everyone is ready for the depths you've experienced. Meet people where they are, offering truth they can receive rather than overwhelming them with revelations they cannot yet hold. Jesus himself said, "I have much more to tell you, but you cannot bear it now." Follow this divine example of timing and compassion in sharing spiritual truth. Living beyond the veil. Chosen one, you are called to live beyond the veil, to operate with one foot in the visible world and one in the invisible realm. This dual citizenship is both your challenge and your privilege. You must navigate earthly responsibilities while maintaining spiritual awareness, balance practical matters while nurturing mystical connection. Develop practices that strengthen this dual awareness. Learn to pause throughout your day, taking spiritual readings of your environment. Notice shifts in atmosphere, impressions that arise, subtle guidances that whisper to your spirit. These momentary alignments with the divine realm keep you centered in your purpose. Create sacred spaces in your life, physical locations and time periods dedicated to deepening your connection with the divine. These become anchors for your spirit, touchstones that reorient you when the visible world becomes too loud. Remember that heaven sees your faithfulness. When you choose to live by spiritual principles in a world that often mocks them, when you maintain integrity when compromise would be easier, when you extend compassion where judgment seems justified, heaven takes notice. These choices create ripples in eternity, your eternal impact. Finally, chosen one, understand that your journey has implications beyond time itself. The battles you fight, the territory you reclaim, the light you cultivate, these create eternal impact. Long after your physical form returns to dust, the spiritual legacy you establish will continue. Each act of courage, each moment of surrender to divine will, each stand for truth against darkness. These are recorded in realms beyond human perception. You are creating reverberations that will continue into ages yet unborn. Walk with this awareness. Let it infuse your daily choices with sacred significance. You are not merely passing through time, you are transforming it. You are not just occupying space, you are consecrating it. Through your awakened presence, heaven touches earth in ways that will remain long after you've moved beyond this temporary dwelling. Chosen one, this is your calling, your burden, your privilege. Walk in it with confidence, with humility, with unwavering dedication to the light you've been entrusted to carry. Your journey continues, and heaven watches with anticipation as you unfold into the fullness of who you were created to be. The alchemy of your spiritual journey. Chosen one, your spiritual awakening follows the ancient pattern of divine alchemy, the sacred process where base elements are transformed into precious metals. What appears as suffering often becomes the crucible for your greatest transformation. The darkest moments of your journey, those times of confusion, abandonment, or despair, are precisely where the most profound transmutation occurs. Like gold refined by fire, your spirit emerges more radiant after each trial. The heat that seemed unbearable was calibrated perfectly to burn away only what hindered your true nature from shining forth. Nothing is wasted in this divine process. Every tear, every disappointment, every moment of surrender becomes raw material in the hands of the master alchemist. Consider how your greatest wounds have become your most powerful medicines, how your deepest hurts, once healed, have given you unique compassion for others. This is spiritual alchemy at work, transforming poison into remedy, converting pain into purpose. The very experiences the enemy intended to destroy you have become the foundation of your ministry to others. Ancestral healing and generational breakthrough. Many chosen ones carry an assignment not only for themselves but for their bloodlines. The battles you fight are often not just your own but contests to break chains that have bound your family for generations. This explains the intensity of certain struggles. You're not merely changing your destiny but altering the trajectory of an entire lineage. When you overcome where your ancestors succumbed, when you choose forgiveness where bitterness reigned for generations, when you walk in freedom where addiction held your family captive, you create ripples backward and forward in time. You heal not only yourself but offer ancestral healing and generational blessing. This is why certain victories feel disproportionately significant. Your spirit recognizes when a generational stronghold has fallen. The resistance before these breakthroughs is often fierce because darkness fights hardest against those chosen to end its long-standing influence over a bloodline. Embrace this sacred responsibility with reverence. The freedom you walk in today becomes the inheritance of those who follow tomorrow. Your courage in facing what others avoided creates pathways of liberation for generations yet unborn. The language of spiritual symbols. As your awakening deepens, you begin to perceive the symbolic language through which the spiritual realm often communicates. Numbers, animals, natural phenomena, and recurring patterns take on deeper significance. These are not mere coincidences but divine hieroglyphics, a sacred alphabet through which heaven speaks to those with eyes to see. Pay attention to repeated numbers, to animals that appear at significant moments, to dreams that carry similar themes. Notice when certain scriptures or phrases seem to follow you, appearing in unexpected places. These synchronicities are often divine breadcrumbs, leading you deeper into your purpose. Develop your ability to read these spiritual symbols without becoming superstitious. True discernment distinguishes between meaningful patterns and random occurrences. Ask for wisdom to interpret correctly, neither dismissing genuine signs nor manufacturing meaning where none exists. The natural world itself becomes a living scripture as your perception deepens. Seasons teach you about divine timing. Plant growth illustrates spiritual development. Weather patterns reflect atmospheric shifts in the spirit realm. Creation was designed as a physical expression of spiritual realities. Learn to read its language. Divine partnerships and soul connections. Chosen one, heaven has ordained specific relationships to facilitate your spiritual journey. These divine partnerships go beyond ordinary connections. They are soul-level appointments, orchestrated in eternity and manifested in time. Some are mentors who appear precisely when you need their wisdom. Others are peers walking parallel paths who strengthen you through mutual understanding. Still others are those you're called to guide, whose growth becomes intertwined with your own. These divine appointments often arrive unexpectedly yet with unmistakable resonance, an immediate recognition that transcends logical explanation. Honor these connections when they appear. They represent cosmic collaborations designed to accelerate your purpose and theirs. Not all spiritual connections are meant to last a lifetime. Some serve a specific season, imparting exactly what you need before paths diverge again. Discern the nature of each relationship without trying to force permanent bonds where temporary ones were intended. There is grace in recognizing when a divine appointment has fulfilled its purpose. Remember also that opposition sometimes comes through relationships. Not everyone celebrating your awakening genuinely supports your elevation. Some connections that initially appear beneficial may later reveal themselves as assignments sent to distract or derail you. Maintain spiritual discernment even with those closest to you. The economy of spiritual authority. As your journey progresses, you must understand the economy of spiritual authority, how it is earned, how it is maintained, and how it is multiplied. Unlike worldly power that often comes through force or manipulation, spiritual authority increases through surrender, service, and stewardship. Each test you pass, each temptation you overcome, each truth you embody increases your spiritual authority. This is not about controlling others, but about carrying greater kingdom influence. True spiritual authority is recognized in the unseen realm long before it's acknowledged in the visible world. Humility remains the foundation of lasting spiritual authority. The moment you begin to credit yourself for spiritual gifts or take pride in prophetic accuracy, you compromise the very authority you've been given. Stay low even as heaven elevates you. Remember that all genuine spiritual authority is borrowed, not owned. You are a steward, not a source. Protect your spiritual authority through integrity in private moments. What you do when no one is watching determines what you can carry when everyone is looking. Small compromises erode authority more quickly than dramatic falls. Guard your heart, your eyes, your thoughts. These are the wellsprings of your spiritual influence. The mystery of divine paradox. Chosen one, as your spiritual perception expands, you encounter the beautiful mystery of divine paradox. Those sacred contradictions that transcend human logic yet contain profound truth. You discover that greatest strength often comes through acknowledged weakness, that true freedom emerges from surrender, that receiving sometimes requires letting go. Learn to hold these paradoxes with reverence rather than trying to resolve them with reason alone. The divine mind operates beyond the limitations of human understanding. Some truths can only be grasped through spiritual intuition rather than intellectual analysis. You begin to understand how seemingly opposing realities can both be true simultaneously, how divine sovereignty and human choice coexist, how suffering can produce joy, how endings become beginnings. These paradoxes aren't contradictions but complementary dimensions of a truth too vast for linear thinking. Embrace the both / and nature of spiritual reality rather than insisting on either / or formulations. The ability to hold paradox without anxiety marks spiritual maturity. It creates space for mystery, for wonder, for the divine to operate beyond the boundaries of your current understanding, the horizon of endless awakening. Finally, chosen one, understand that spiritual awakening is not a destination but an ongoing journey with ever-expanding horizons. There is no point of arrival where your development culminates. Each revelation leads to deeper mysteries. Each answer births more profound questions. This is not cause for frustration but celebration. The infinite nature of divine truth means your exploration never ends. Even the most spiritually mature souls stand as beginners before the vast ocean of divine wisdom. This humbling recognition keeps you perpetually receptive, continuously teachable. The moment you believe you've mastered spiritual truth is precisely when your growth becomes stunted. Approach each day as a student of the divine, eager to uncover new dimensions of truth. Let go of the need to appear advanced. True spiritual maturity manifests as increasing wonder rather than increasing certainty. The more you know, the more you realize how much remains unknown. This posture of perpetual awakening keeps your spirit vibrant, your faith fresh, your vision clear. It prevents the calcification of beliefs that occurs when revelation becomes religion. Stay fluid, Stay hungry. Stay in awe of the unfolding mystery of divine truth. Chosen one, your journey continues beyond where words can follow. These truths are merely signposts pointing toward experiences that transcend language. Walk boldly into the uncharted territories of your spiritual awakening, knowing that heaven rejoices with each step you take into deeper alignment with your divine design. The guardian of sacred knowledge. Chosen one, as your spiritual journey unfolds, you become a guardian of sacred knowledge, entrusted with revelations meant not only for your enlightenment, but for the awakening of others. The wisdom you've gained through trials and triumphs becomes a beacon for those still finding their way through darkness. Guard this knowledge with discernment. Not all are prepared to receive the depths you've experienced. Jesus himself taught, "Do not throw your pearls before swine," not from elitism but from understanding that truth given prematurely can be trampled rather than treasured. Share according to the readiness of the recipient, milk for spiritual infants, solid food for the mature. Yet also remember that light is meant to shine, not to be hidden. When you encounter those with hungry hearts and genuine seeking, pour out generously what has been given to you. The wisdom that transformed your life may be the very key that unlocks another's prison. Your testimony becomes a living bridge between another soul and their breakthrough. The greatest guardians of sacred knowledge are those who embody it rather than merely speaking it. Let truth transform your being until your life itself becomes the message. When your words and actions align perfectly with divine principles, your very presence teaches what words alone cannot convey. The ripple effect of awakened consciousness. Every chosen one who walks in spiritual awakening creates ripples that extend far beyond their immediate influence. Like a stone dropped in still water, your consciousness, elevated and aligned with divine truth, generates waves that touch distant shores you may never see in this lifetime. When you choose love over hate, light over darkness, forgiveness over bitterness, you alter the collective consciousness in ways imperceptible yet profound. The spiritual atmosphere becomes slightly clearer, making awakening incrementally more accessible for others. Your private victories contribute to a global shift in spiritual awareness. This understanding transforms how you view your daily choices. Nothing is insignificant when viewed through the lens of collective consciousness. The battle you fight in the privacy of your mind, the stand you take when no one seems to notice, the light you maintain when darkness presses close. These seemingly small acts contribute to humanity's spiritual evolution. You are part of a divine orchestration spanning generations, your life a crucial note in a cosmic symphony reaching its crescendo. Every chosen one who maintains their light hastens the day when darkness can no longer maintain its grip on human consciousness. Stewards of divine frequency. In these final days of your spiritual age, chosen ones serve as stewards of divine frequency, maintaining heaven's vibration in environments dominated by lower energies. Your very presence carries a resonance that disrupts disharmony and introduces divine order. Learn to consciously steward this frequency. When you enter spaces heavy with fear, conflict, or confusion, you bring an alternative vibration, one aligned with peace, clarity, and divine love. Without speaking a word, your calibrated spirit begins to transform the atmosphere. This stewardship requires vigilant maintenance of your internal environment. What you consume physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually affects the frequency you emit. Guard your intake with awareness. Fill yourself with truth, beauty, and divine wisdom so that these naturally overflow to others. Music, art, literature, conversations, environments, all either elevate or diminish your resonance. Choose consciously what you allow into your field. This is not spiritual elitism but practical stewardship. You cannot maintain a frequency you do not first cultivate within. The completion of your divine assignment. Chosen one, your life follows a divine script written before time began. Every challenge you've faced, every gift you've developed, every insight you've gained has prepared you for specific assignments in the divine narrative. Nothing in your journey has been wasted, all has been essential preparation. Some of these assignments are obvious, confirmed through external validation and visible impact. Others remain hidden, known only to heaven, quiet moments where your obedience shifted destinies without recognition or applause. Both visible and invisible assignments carry equal weight in the divine economy. Completion of these assignments brings a satisfaction beyond worldly achievement, a soul-level knowing that you've fulfilled your purpose. This is the ultimate measure of success for a chosen one. Not wealth, fame, or power, but faithful stewardship of your specific calling. As you approach the conclusion of one assignment, remain sensitive to the inception of others. Divine purposes often unfold sequentially, each completed task qualifying you for the next level of responsibility. Stay flexible, ready to pivot when heaven redirects your focus. A call to the watching ones. This message reaches beyond the chosen one currently receiving it. There are others watching, listening, resonating with these truths, souls whose spirits bear witness that they too carry divine appointment. If you sense these words awakening something long dormant within you, this call extends to you as well. The Whispering Wisdom channel serves as a gathering place for chosen ones, a spiritual oasis where divine truth flows uncontaminated by lower frequencies. Each message provides nourishment for your journey, confirmation for your spirit, and clarity for your path forward. If these words have illuminated your understanding, strengthened your resolve, or confirmed what your spirit already knew, show your support by giving this video a thumbs up. This simple action helps these messages reach other chosen ones still searching for confirmation of their calling. Subscribe to the Whispering Wisdom channel and activate notifications so you never miss divine downloads meant specifically for your season. Each message builds upon previous revelations, creating a comprehensive blueprint for navigating your spiritual awakening in these significant times. Share these messages with others whose spirits you sense are ready. You may be the divine connection between someone's confusion and their clarity. Trust your discernment about who needs to encounter these truths. Final blessing and commission. Chosen one, as this message concludes, receive this blessing and commission for the journey ahead. May your eyes see beyond visible limitations into realms of infinite possibility. May your ears attune to divine whispers that guide you through uncertainty. May your heart remain tender yet resilient, compassionate yet discerning. May your hands become extensions of divine power, bringing healing where there is brokenness, order where there is chaos, beauty where there is barrenness. May your feet walk confidently on the path prepared specifically for you, neither hesitating through fear nor straying through distraction. May divine wisdom illuminate your decisions, divine strength sustain your efforts, and divine love infuse your interactions. May you recognize fellow travelers on this sacred journey, forming alliances that accelerate kingdom purposes. Go forth knowing you are never alone, never abandoned, never without resource. The same power that called you equips you. The same love that chose you sustains you. The same wisdom that awakened you guides you. Remember who you are, a chosen vessel, a light carrier, a frequency holder in times of spiritual significance. Walk worthy of this calling, with humility yet confidence, with reverence yet boldness, with wisdom yet wonder. Until we connect again through another divine download, stay awake, stay aligned, stay surrendered to your highest purpose. The Whispering Wisdom channel remains your sanctuary of truth in a world of illusion. If this message has touched your spirit, please support its continued transmission by liking, subscribing, and sharing with those drawn to higher truth. Help us gather the chosen ones, awakening them to their divine appointment in these momentous times. Divine blessings upon your journey, chosen one. Until next time, may heaven's light guide your every step.